All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the presentation. Thank you so much for being here. Well, thank you very much, Sheena. Sheena's taking off with her rocket ship already. We're taking off. Well, hello. How you doing? How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the presentation. Thank you so much for being here. You know, it's Friday. In case you haven't figured that out by now, that's a good day. Any day's a Friday. Any Friday's a good day. It's the weekend. We just got to chill. You know what I mean? We just got to chill and relax and have a good time. That's what we're doing tonight. And so I appreciate you guys spending this Friday with us. We're going to have a really cool show tonight, by the way. A spooky one. Spooky show. But it's going to be a good show. It'll be a good one. But before we do, let's go into our announcements, and then we'll get into the presentation. We have a lot of announcements. Really cool. Really cool. Well, thank you very much. Just appreciate y'all being here. Okay, first of all, I want you to go to this website. Our sponsors, KGRA, D as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. Now, do me a favor. Please click on the shop link, and then you'll see my name, Bishop James Long. Now, if you click my name, we have a whole host of products that Mr. Producer is showing on all the other social media platforms, as well as KGRADB Radio. And these products are pretty amazing. We have St. Michael. We have St. Benedict. St. Benedict is the patron saint, by the way, for exorcists and police officers. So, and I'm a Benedictine monk, which, again, I tell people this all the time. But if you go to this site, they have really some amazing products. Oh, you purchased a candle. Thank you. And purchase them. Guys, I'm telling you, before you know it, it's going to be Christmas. So go ahead and pick up your items now, because here's why. 100% of the profits that would go to me from KGRADB selling these products, 100% as a community, because it is a communal effort, we are donating that to the MKS Kids Foundation. 100%. And I will tell you, sis, guys, really honestly, I'm really looking forward to helping this community, because we need to. They're an orphanage. They're in Uganda. They're a phenomenal, phenomenal organization. And I really, my heart goes out to them because they do such beautiful work. And I want to make this clear. There's a big difference between, an orphanage in the United States versus in Uganda. And the MKS Kids Foundation is a 501 nonprofit. Thank you. And they find children who are incredibly impoverished. We're not talking about education. We're talking about kids who really don't know where the next meal is going to be, let alone have a roof over their head. And so the MKS Kids Foundation does this for them. They take these children in, they educate them, they give them the nutrients that they need, they give them the education. And so I strongly encourage you, knowing that when you go to the KGRADB website, number one, you're going to get great products. But number two, you're going to be helping an orphanage that is our friends here right now, and people already like Tabby is demonically oppressed. So Tabby, you chose to troll during our letting people know about an orphanage. Your soul is in peril. Your soul is in peril. You're just too stupid to realize it. I mean, anybody who trolls when we're talking about funding an orphanage, really, that's a different low. That is a low that where demons dwell. But that's typical of a lot of people on social media. A lot of people, but not us, and not us. We don't want those people here. They are evil. They are demonic. So, you got the candle. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, folks, again, KGRA, D as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. And just click on the shop link, and then click my name. And then when you do that, again, please go to the website, purchase the items, and it helps the MKS Kids Foundation. Now, if you want to go to my website because you have nothing else better to do and you're really bored, which, I mean, there's plenty of other websites you can go to, but BishopJamesLong.com. BishopJamesLong.com. By the way, my music that I have, you can go to BishopJamesLong.com, scroll down, and you'll see my official social media link, whatever, for the music. Just click it, and you can enjoy it. Have a good time. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Sheena. Thank you, everybody, for the gifts. But more importantly, I want you to go to the website. Thank you. It's usocc.org. That is the church's website. And head on over yonder, and that would be great. Again, usocc.org. That is the church's website. We're going to have night prayer later on tonight. So certainly the trolls don't want to join us because their head would spin. But nonetheless, we're gonna have a good time. I love having night prayer. Now, well, thank you guys. Here's a very, very cool, I think something that I want to talk about very quickly before we forget, or I forget rather. Next week, thank you. Next week, I will not be here sitting in this chair, because next week I'm going to be sitting in a different chair, and I will be on the boat, the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary is one of the most haunted locations in the United States. Really, many people even say the world. The first night I'll be staying in the most haunted room on the ship. And I will be talking a lot about what I captured, any evidence that I captured on the Friday night show. So next week, the show will be live on the Queen Mary boat. That is what we are. So there we go. And I appreciate, that's going to be a lot of good time. And here's the deal. Excuse me, just indulge me for a moment. I'm going to make this very clear to every single person who's on TikTok right now. If you're going to come in and troll, I'm going to put subscriber chat on, and we're going to see arrivederci to you. And we won't give a second thought about it. So you have a choice. Act like a human being, an adult, or I'm going to put sub chat on. It's that simple. It's that simple. We are adults here. This is not a playground for kids or people who clearly can't act like they're an adult. So I'm letting you know now. That's your one and only warning. Okay. All right. Imagine having to let TikTok know. Can you imagine that? Okay. That's a good question. Thank you for asking. Night prayer is tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there we go. Yeah. Look, questions are great. Questions are welcomed. However, let me just let you guys know something. You're more than welcome. Thank you for asking. I run the presentation on multiple computers. So here's on TikTok, and this computer is KGRADB radio and all the other social media platforms. So I will not be able to see some of your questions because I have to pan to this camera and pan to this camera. So you understand? So, Jonathan, I appreciate the question. Tonight is the Paranormal Friday night. And and remember, James said faith without works is dead. So it's not because you earn heaven through good works. You are naturally inclined to do good works if, in fact, you follow the teachings of Christ. Trolling is following the teachings of the devil. Okay, but good question. All right, let's go. So, guys, tonight is a Paranormal Friday night. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And now you guys are being distracting, and I don't want to talk to you guys anymore. So for those of you, you're welcome. Appreciate you guys being on TikTok. Subscriber chat is on now for the rest of the night. All right, let's go. Let's imagine, because we're not gonna let these people interrupt us on a Friday night. So go someplace else. Shoo, crawl back under the rock in which you came. All right, for everybody else, hello. Hello. Yeah, it's Friday. Well, it's Friday. We're going to have a good Friday. Yeah, that's surprising. Huh? Yeah, you know what? I don't know. By the way, I thought that TikTok was supposed to have some M2 thing. What happened to that? What happened to that? What happened to the M2 TikTok that everybody was saying, oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen. Oh, shut up. They said it was supposed to happen today. It's going to happen. I have inside information. It's going to happen. Well, it didn't. Here we are. It's the same thing. People are spreading this bullshit about that the rapture is going to happen. Yes, I said bullshit. I'm allowed to. I'm in my 50s. But they said this. We're going to have a rapture on the 23rd and 24th of this month. Do you know how many times these people have been preaching that we're going to have raptures? I mean, seriously. I mean, give me a break. If I had $1 for every time someone were going to have raptured, I'd already be a multimillionaire. So now, again, you got people saying, it's a rapture. I know it's going to have a rapture. Well, what are you going to do when we ain't raptured on the 25th? Because I won't be in a plane flying back home. And that's not a good time for a rapture if Jesus doesn't say, hey, James, you can come home now. I don't want the pilot saying, we'll see you. I mean, I played Flight Simulator a couple times, but that don't make me a pilot. Yeah, what you gonna do, brother? I mean, seriously, it's stupid. Guys, here's what's gonna happen. Shall I give you a... Okay, I'll cue you in. Here's a spoiler. The rapture is not going to happen on the 23rd or 24th. We're going to be here on the 25th. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Okay? So you mark my words. And here's what they're going to do. All these people spreading this rapture fear. I'm telling you, I know these people like the back of my hand. What they'll do is they'll do this. Well, I miscalculated, and it was not this September. It's next. Oh, I see. Next September. Gotcha. Okay. Do you know that the same people who are telling you that the rapture is on the 23rd and 24th of this month, do you know that they're still asking for donations? What the hell are you going to do with the donations if you're being raptured? So what's the point? You see, folks, it's a con game. That's exactly what it's a con game. They're trying to scare the hell out of you, and then you give all of your money to them, and they walk around and say, oh, it's a miscalculation. Now, look, I'm not denying the fact that it could happen, but what I am denying is that anybody knows. And all these people running around saying they're the prophet of this and they're the prophet of that, and they're a prophet, and you're a prophet, we're a prophet, everywhere a prophet, old MacDonald had a farm. I mean, really? And that's what it is. And then what happens? On the 23rd and 24th, when there's no rapture, and the 25th rolls around, people scratch their head and said, is this what Christianity is about? Hell no, it's not. No, it is not. These people don't speak for me. They may speak for a saint asylum, but they don't speak for me. So I'm telling you now, the 25th, I'm going to be flying back home. And on the 26th, I'm going to be in this seat. And we're going to have a Paranormal Friday show. And I'm going to look in the camera and I'm going to say, told you so. All right. That's exactly right. That's what they call wolves in sheep's clothing. All right. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to be in Los Angeles from September the 10th until the 25th. So we're going to have a really fantastic show. Thank you very much. And yes, I will be here on Fridays for the Friday shows while I'm in Los Angeles. So I'll still be doing that. I'm a workaholic. I don't like taking off. And so I want to, because that's several weeks I don't want to miss. All right. Sit back, relax, and let me scare the heck out of you. Okay? All right. And then we'll talk your demon questions and your exorcism questions. And I love having a good time. But as those of you who follow me know that the first hour, I do a presentation. And this presentation is true. And I want you to understand these. These are true, historical, terrifying events. The first I want to talk about is the curse of the SS Orang Medan. So this was a boat. Listen to this story. This is crazy. So there are mysteries of the sea that remain unexplained. Ships vanish without a trace. Vessels found drifting in silence. Crews discovered frozen in terror. But one story stands apart from them all. A ghost ship in the Strait of Malacca. It's a distress call no one understood. See, when rescuers finally boarded the vessel, what they found was so horrifying, so unnatural. To this very day, no one knows what really happened. Thank you. This is the story of the SS Orang Medan. So it was June 1947, and the heat over the Strait of Malacca, the narrow passage between Sumatra and Malaysia, thank you, hung thick. It was oppressive. And merchant ships crept across the shimmering waters, and the radios buzzing with, routine chatter. And then came a voice. SOS from Orang Medan. We float, all officers, including captain deceased, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. This is an actual transmission. SOS from Orang Medan. We float, all officers, including the captain dead, lying in chart room and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. The transmission was broken. It was distorted. The voice barely above a whisper. It sounded wrong. There was no panic. There was no urgency. Just a cold, hollow tone, as if the man already knew it was too late. Several nearby ships picked up the call, including an American vessel called the Silver Star, and they tried to respond. There was no answer, only static. Until another distorted transmission said, "I die." And the radio cuts off. Those were the very last words ever spoken from the SS Orang Medan. Now, the Silver Star was the closest vessel, and by late afternoon, its captain had changed course, heading straight for the coordinates given in the transmission. For hours, the crew scanned the horizon for any sign of the distressed ship, and then they saw her. So the SS Orang Medan floated silently on calm waters. Her hull was weathered, her decks quiet. There was no movement, no sign of life. And the Silver Star, the crew launched a boarding party, and they approached cautiously, climbing the rope ladder onto the deck of the Orang Medan. What they found defied explanation. Bodies everywhere. The entire deck was littered with the remains of the crew. Men lay sprawled on the backs, arms outstretched, their faces frozen in expression of sheer terror. Their mouths were open wide as if screaming, and their eyes staring skyward. One crewman reported later on that the eyes seemed to follow him as he walked. Another swore the skin of the dead felt ice cold, as though the bodies had been frozen. Yet the tropical heat was unbearable, over 100 degrees. Here's what's interesting. There were no signs of injury. There was no blood, no struggle. It was as if death had claimed them in an instant, leaving only their fear behind. And when they finally reached the bridge, they found the captain slumped against the wheel. His expression matched the others. And in the chart room, the officers lay dead where they sat. And down in the communications room, the radio's operator corpse was still hunched over the transmitter, the same one that sent the chilling SOS. And then they reached the boiler room. And that's where they found the ship's engineer, along with several fishermen, all deceased, all with the same ghastly expression frozen onto their bodies. So one of the Silver Star's men said later It was as though something invisible had moved through the ship and stopped their hearts all at once. Now, with the bodies examined and no survivors found, the Silver Star's order captured a tow. He ordered a tow, and they would bring the Orang Medan back to port and let authorities investigate. But as they secured the lines, something went wrong. From deep within the ship, smoke began to pour out. Within minutes, flames erupted across the deck. The Silver Star crew cut the tow lines and scrambled back to safety. And then, without warning, the SS Orang Medan exploded. No explanation. The blast was so powerful that the entire vessel lifted from the water before splitting in two and sinking beneath the waves. In less than 5 minutes, she was gone. To this day, no one knows what happened aboard the SS Orang Medan. No records of her construction even exist. No documentation of her cargo. No registration under her name was ever found. Now, some believe she was smuggling hazardous chemicals, possibly nerve gas, that leaked and unalived the crew. But why the frozen expression? Why the radio's operator's terrified last words? Now, others whisper darker theories. The ship carried something cursed, that the crew stumbled upon forces that they were never meant to encounter. Some even claim it was extraterrestrial, a close encounter that went terribly wrong. And yet, there are those who believe that the ship still sails. For decades, sailors of the Strait of Malacca have reported strange sightings. Rusted, silent vessel appearing in the mist, drifting aimlessly. And when they approach, it vanishes. So the SS Orang Medan has become a ghost, a phantom, swallowed up by the sea. Its name really lives on in whispers. I mean, only in nightmares of those who heard its final call. Was it human error? A secret weapon? Something not of this world? We may never know. But on the possibility, if you ever find yourself crossing the Strait of Malacca on a quiet, foggy night, and you see a derelict freighter on the horizon, don't answer its call. The last words, I die. That's crazy. And that is a true story. Okay, everybody, hello, welcome. I appreciate you all being here. I'm Bishop Long. We're talking about true historical, terrifying stories. They were trying to take the ship, and the ship exploded. They were trying to tow the ship to obviously to the port, and it exploded. Now this fascinates me. Matter of fact, they have a show on this. If you have not seen this show, do yourself a favor, watch it. It is phenomenal. It's called Terror. I believe it's on Netflix, I think it's on Netflix. It's the first season. So this is a really amazing show. This is the doomed Franklin expedition. So here's the story behind this. In 1845, two British ships, the HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, set sail on a grand mission. They wanted to conquer the Arctic and find a fabled passage connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. They carried 129 men, 3 years of supplies, cutting-edge technology for the time. The expedition was commanded by Sir John Franklin. And he was an experienced explorer, a decorated naval officer. They were prepared for everything, except for what awaited them. Because within months, both ships vanished into the frozen silence. And what searchers would find in decades that followed would horrify the world. And again, if you've not seen this, it is a great show. Phenomenal actors, too. It began on May of 1845. Franklin's expedition was the pride of the British Empire. It was the latest attempt to finally claim the Northwest Passage. So 2 ships, HMS Erebus, 105 feet long, and HMS Terror, slightly smaller, but equally formidable, and both reinforced with iron plating to withstand the crushing ice. So they had steam engines, retractable crew propellers, state-of-the-art technology for an age, still, lit by whale oil. The Admiralty packed them with provisions, 8,000 tons of preserved food, crates of rum, barrels, coals, rifles, books, enough to last 3 years in the Arctic wilderness. Families waved goodbye, in England, not knowing they'd ever see their loved ones again. Franklin, already 59 years old, stood proudly on the Erebus's deck. And he had failed, actually, in the previous attempts to find the passage, but this time he was determined. So in July, they stopped in Greenland's Disco Bay to gather more supplies and, send their last letters home. Soon after, the Erebus and Terror sailed into Baffin Bay, disappeared. Search parties later pieced together fragments of the timeline. So by September of 1846, both ships became trapped in thick pack ice off King William Island. They never moved again. For nearly 2 years, the crews endured brutal cold and endless darkness. They thought eventually that it would thaw. Temperatures plunged below minus 40 degrees. The polar night stretched on for months, broken only by like a faint starlight and the shimmering ghostly glow of the aurora. So diaries found decades later described frostbite so severe that skin turned black, fingers just rotted off. Supplies spoiled. Scurvy ravaged the men. Something far worse poisoned them from within. The 10 food, hastily sealed in London, was laced with lead. So their brains began to falter. They had hallucinations, violent mood swings, madness. Imagine the silence, the cold, weeks, months without sunrise. You hear the ice creak and groan under the wooden ship. You watch your friends just waste away one by one, knowing that you are going to be next. So by April of 1848, the men could wait no longer. With Franklin dead, both ships locked in the ice. 105 survivors abandoned the Erebus and Terror, hauling sledges weighed down with supplies. Their destination was Back River, hundreds of frozen miles away. They thought that they could reach, that safely, and they were wrong. Now, search expeditions years later found the remains of this desperate journey: scattered bones, torn boots, discarded sledges, something even far darker. Human bones cracked open, knife marks on femurs, skull fragments split clean. The forensic evidence was undeniable. They resorted to cannibalism. So Inuit oral histories of the Alaskan, or the natives there, rather, I should say, tell of starving men dragging each other through the snow. Some claim they saw the sailors lose their minds, wandering without boots or gloves, skin blackened with frostbite. One story described a man clutching a severed hand, eating it raw in the frozen night. None of the 105 men ever made it. So for nearly 170 years, the Erebus and Terror laid hidden beneath Arctic waters. And then in 2014, a Canadian search team made a stunning discovery: the wreck of the HMS Erebus. 2 years later, they found the Terror, perfectly preserved. It rests upright on the seafloor as frozen in time. And divers reported eerie senses, dishes still stacked neatly on shelves, Captain Crozier's desk drawers closed, boots lying in rows by their bunks, as if the crew might return at any moment. What truly happened aboard those ships in their final days? Why did the survivors abandon shelter and supplies? Why did Inuit accounts speak of mad sailors, eyes wide and black, wandering like ghosts across the ice? Some believe the Franklin expedition was doomed from the start. See, they were cursed for trespassing on sacred Inuit lands. Others whisper of something unnatural, even in the Arctic, an ancient presence buried in the ice. Here's what's interesting. The Inuit testimony, the natives in that area, describes terrifying figures seen near the wrecks. Tall, thin shapes moving silently in the blizzards. Were these hallucinations born of starvation or something else? One elder described the final moments of the men in this way. They said that the land swallowed them. The ice took their minds first, and then their bodies. Their spirits walk forever where the ships sleep. And even today, locals swear that on clear Arctic nights, you can still hear them. Faint calls carried on the wind as though the men are still searching for the ship. But in the end, the Franklin expedition was a perfect storm of ambition, misfortune, and terror. Yep, shadow people. The ice trapped them. Disease and poison consumed them. Madness claimed whatever was left. The Erebus and Terror now rest beneath the frigid waters, and monuments to hubris and human fragility. The secrets are locked in the ice, waiting for someone brave or foolish enough to go and cover them. So if you're ever on the Arctic seas and the night is still, you listen carefully, they say. Some sailors swear that they still hear the voices in the wind calling out from beneath the ice, asking them for help, frozen in terror. This is a true story. And again, I encourage you, watch The Terror. The show is called The Terror. I believe it's on Netflix, season 1. It is absolutely amazing. As a matter of fact, let me just double check because I don't want to give you guys wrong information. This actually is one of my favorite shows because, number one, it's historical, and it's on a Prime. Yeah, I knew it was on one of them. I'll show you guys. Hold on one second. Oh, man. Let me show you. Because I want to make sure you guys have it. But it's called The Terror. It's season 1. Oh, password is going to... okay. I'll have to do it later. All right. Maybe I can find it on... well, thank you very much. Thank you. Prime. All right. Really amazing. There it is. Amazing actors. I think the acting is phenomenal. And I'm going to... well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys, for the gifts. I appreciate that. Let me take a picture of this. It's just faster to do it this way. And then you guys can see what I mean by it. Okay. Well, spare no expense. Kind of hard to do this when you're trying to do a live show, but that's okay. So that is it. The Terror. Okay. Really, honestly, this is probably one of the best shows because they also, what's interesting is the native people there claim of some spiritual creature. There was belief that perhaps the Terror was being stalked and even unalived by a polar bear. That's what some are actually saying occurred. The native people don't look at this as evil at all, this creature. that they look at this very spiritual for them. It's a protector of the land. But because they came and they approached this land, this area, uninvited, thank you there, Barbles, they believe that some of the natives believe that this creature was there to protect and force them to leave. Apparently, this creature it's a very sacred but incredibly large animal. So that's a belief. But just watch. I think you'll love it. Okay. The next is phenomenal. Well, thank you very much. Thank you all guys for the gifts. I do appreciate that. Well, let's do a couple. Well, let's take a little quick, just a quick reminder. I want everyone to, don't forget, there's a lot of people coming in. We appreciate all of you. Don't forget to go to this website, everybody. Okay, it's kgradb.com. There it is. I put it on all the social media, on all the other social media. KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. Click on the shop link and click my name. If you do that, there are some amazing, amazing products there. St. Michael, St. Benedict. Make sure you pick up those products. 100% of that would go to me, the profit. We, as a community, we're donating to the MKS Kids Foundation, an orphanage that is in Uganda that we're partnering up with. All right, this is crazy. When I read this story, I thought, okay, this is a very interesting and crazy story. So sit back, buckle in, and listen to this. This is the Jorge Verde disappearance. On February of 1923, deep in the Brazilian rainforest, where the roads dissolve into tangled green, there was once a small settlement called, as I just mentioned, Jorge Verde. 600 people lived there. Farmers, teachers, families, children. By dawn, one morning, they were gone. Completely gone. So when investigators arrived, they found plates of food still on tables, beds still unmade, a single dog tied to a post, ribs sharp beneath its skin. Not a single soul remained. No signs of violence, no tracks in the dirt, no footprints leading away. Just one thing. There is no salvation. I'll explain. So Jorge Verde wasn't marked on most maps. Thank you for subscribing. It survived on barter and trade, visited only a few times a year by traveling merchants. And they were the first to arrive that February. And what they found haunted them for the rest of their lives. Trader Joachim's Piera's journal writes this. We reached Jorge Verde just past noon. The air smelled wrong, like metal, and we called out, but no one answered. I stepped into the house, the first house. A bowl of manioc sat steaming on the table, but the chair was empty. I didn't notice at first, but the birds were silent, even the insects. Then I heard it, the school bell ringing. And we left before dark. I don't know why, but it felt like we weren't supposed to stay. And that's in a journal that one of the traders, actually, Trader Joachim Piera's journal. And when they reached the nearest outpost, they sent word for the government. Within 4 days, Jorge Verde was under investigation. And by the way, this is the first classified government memo regarding the Jorge Verde case. It remained hidden for almost a century. Listen, this is an actual government memo that was released. Dated February 17, 1923, from a Ministerio de Guerra. Unexplained disappearance, Jorge Verde settlement. All 600 plus residents missing, no bodies recovered. Blackboard message reads, there is no salvation. And the fourth thing it said, unconfirmed reports of children laughter in surrounding forest. Locals warned investigators not to enter after sundown. And the directive was to seal the perimeter, deny public access, suppress information. But the government didn't just send soldiers. They sent Captain Luis Morales, a decorated investigator. And his private notes were never meant to be read until they released them. Captain Luis Morales' journal says, February 19th, 1923, something is wrong here. At night, I hear drums, but our recorders capture nothing. 2 men claim they saw someone, a woman, standing between the trees. When they approached, she vanished. The locals warned us, do not look at the trees after sunset. I laughed when they said it. I don't laugh now. If anyone ever reads this, burn this place. These are true stories. So Captain Morales never filed these notes officially. Days later, his entire team disappeared. Investigators studied the blackboard message, and at first glance, it seemed simple. But under ultraviolet light, they found a hidden message. The primary message carved, there is no salvation. Extreme pressure indicates panic. So when they did the forensic analysis, what they found is there is no salvation. Extreme pressure indicates panic. So in other words, there was extreme pressure. When they put there is no salvation, someone was writing hard on the chalkboard. And secondary scratches reveal 6 repetition of one phrase, don't look at the trees. There's also a crude sketch of circle of figures holding hands. And beneath it, one word. Technically 2 words, but Ele Chama. He calls. There was a patrol unit, and they released the transcripts of this. The Alpha 1 patrol unit says, movement near the northern perimeter, tall shapes watching us. The command gave an order, engage if hostile. The patrol unit responded, they're gone, just gone, like they stepped backward and disappeared. Sir, we're hearing the school bell. No further patrols returned. To this day, no one agrees on what happened. Some blame disease. Some say cult activity. Others, we won't even speak of its name. There was an elderly woman from a nearby settlement, and she told investigators that her grandfather said there were lights in the trees, not lanterns, not fire, floating, calling, and people stopped sleeping. They said it was waiting. Whatever it was, Jorge Verde never came back. There was also an unnamed soldier that wrote in some documents, we shouldn't be here. I hear them. I swear I hear them. Children laughing. Captain, there are lights in the forest. They're moving closer. So in 1950, the Brazilian government permanently sealed off the region. No bodies were ever recovered, but locals say on some nights you can still hear the school bell. This is terrifying. This was in 1923. All right, the next I want to talk about this is really interesting as well. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon. In the late summer of 1944, the people of Mattoon, Illinois, were restless. Thank you. War rationing, factory shifts, sons sent overseas. Nights were long, but safe. Then came the smell. Now, at first, they thought it was gas from the factories or maybe leaking pipes. But then the paralysis set in. Within 2 weeks, dozens of residents collapsed. Entire families woke, unable to move, unable to breathe. Thank you. And always outside their windows, someone watching. So the newspaper actually called him the mad gasser of Mattoon. Well, the FBI called it something else, Operation Anodyne. So August 31st, 1944, the home of Aileen and Bert Kearney. Aileen says this. She said, I woke up to this smell, sweet, heavy. I thought it was flowers at first, but then my throat burned. My legs gave out. I tried to call Bert, but my voice, it wouldn't work. By morning, she recovered. But she wasn't the last. Within 48 hours, more homes were hit. In September the 1st, the Mattoon Daily Journal Gazette ran its first headline, which read, Family poisoned by strange gas. Authorities urge calm. But calm was already slipping away. By September the 5th, hysteria was spreading fast. Families barricaded doors. Thank you. Neighbors formed armed patrols. Mothers kept the children home from school. Mattoon police set up a rapid response unit, but the calls kept coming in. This is an actual police dispatch. They released some of these files that were released. A lot of this stuff, I did a lot of investigating and finding articles here and finding articles here. So one newspaper article released some of the things that, the police dispatcher, the archival police dispatch. And it says, Unit 3, 1409 Shelby Avenue, possible gas attack, victim conscious but non-responsive. By nightfall, the FBI arrived. So it declassified in 2022. This is the FBI memo regarding the Mattoon attacks. September 8th, so this is an FBI memo. September 8th, 1944, Chicago Field Office. To J. Edgar Hoover. 17 verified incidents. Victims report sudden olfactory exposure, respiratory distress, temporary paralysis. Residue collected from incident site does not match any known anesthetic agents. Multiple witnesses describe a masked figure carrying an unknown dispersal device. Trail ends abruptly in several cases. Possible deployment of experimental agent. That was classified for 78 years. Thank you. So we tracked down rare, never broadcast witness statements from that summer. And listen to this. An elderly woman said this on a radio show once when she called in. My father swore he saw something. Said that he had something in his hand, a tube maybe, and he shouted, but the man just melted into the dark. And others describe footprints outside their windows, trails leading nowhere. This is from a retired officer's tape. He said, I followed one set of footprints myself. Prints just stopped. Middle of the street, no car marks, no scuff, nothing, like he vanished. On September the 6th, 2 officers were dispatched to 1208 Grant Avenue. Officer Martinez, this is from an incident log. Officer Martinez missing for 47 minutes upon return, uniform torn, boots soaked in unknown residue. Martinez exhibited confusion, memory loss, nausea. Residue sample sent to FBI for analysis. That sample contained no known compounds. By September the 15th, the attacks stopped as suddenly as they began. Officially, the FBI blamed mass hysteria. Unofficially, surveillance continued in Mattoon for 13 more years. Why? Because the Bureau tracked similar incidents in 1953 and 1956. If this was hysteria, why did the Bureau keep watching? So locals Even now, whisper of another theory. They say the gas wasn't meant to sedate. It was meant to lure. And they say he never left, whoever he is. This story here will definitely have you concerned, as if these other stories have not have you concerned. But listen to this. This is the beast of Shavu. It's the secrets of the forests. So in France in 1764, the province of Javaudan, it's rugged forest, remote villages, paths that vanish in the darkness. It began with screams. Sheep and cattle were found slaughtered. Then came the people. So children disappeared, women were dragged into the woods. Survivors spoke of a creature unlike any they'd ever seen, larger than a wolf, stronger than a man, and eyes that glowed in the dark. The beast of Juvon had arrived, or Shavu. In June of 1764, a young woman, Jeanne Bastide, went to fetch water. She never returned. Now, there is a parish record that states Jeanne Bastide did not return home. Only her screams pierced the forest. Her dress was found torn, footprints far larger than any dog, nothing else. But that was of many. Within weeks, children vanished. Adults were found mauled in ways no ordinary wolf could inflict. And there's a parish letter from that time. In June 15, 1764, it states, I pray for souls. The beast hunts every evening. The fields lie empty. No one dares leave their home after dusk. May God save us from this terror. This is in 1764. Now, this became such a by the royal, there was a royal response. By 1765, King Louis XV could no longer ignore the reports. So the royal army sent troops and hunters to this area. So there was a dispatch. So this is from a dispatch from one of the logs. It says, to all units in Chauvin, a beast, thank you, of extraordinary strength attacks our citizens, protect villages at all costs. Civilians are to be evacuated if necessary. Any officer who fails will answer directly to the crown, meaning to the king. The royal hunters documented encounters meticulously, submitting field sketches, reports to the crown. There's a lot of information that was reported and then released. For example, there was a field sketch description, and on it, people said that they see elongated limbs, massive teeth, shaggy fur, gait sometimes quadruped, sometimes upright, eyes reflecting moonlight, tracks measure over 15 inches in length. The documents, they were sealed for decades, but the horror is unmistakable. So residents described a monster moving faster than any man or wolf. There was one village testimony in the report that said, I saw it with my own eyes. A wolf? No. Taller than a man, covered in fur, glowing eyes. It moved like a man when it chose, yet tore through fences and walls. Another parish letter confirms the terror. So the priest actually wrote this in documents saying, there's an individual, one of the people, the parishioners their husband went to check on the livestock, screams, the beast had taken a child. We cannot leave our homes at night. The forests are no longer safe. So the Royal Army's field reports suggest something beyond a normal animal. There's a field report that was filed in July 14th, 1765 that says, pursued creature through forest for 3 hours, tracks larger than any known wolf, gait shows occasional bipedal movement. That means two legs, Attacks observed on livestock confirm immense jaw strength beyond natural wolf physiology. Soldiers also left notes describing sounds that chilled them to the bone. There's one soldier that reported, "We observed the creature near a clearing. It stared at us. Growls formed words impossible to understand. It vanished before a volley of fire reached it." Villages emptied at night. Children never played outdoors, and the fields remained unharvested. One village told the Royal Army, "It comes in the fog, not just howls, screams. Children, maybe adults, then silence. They don't hear anything." Now, there was a royal dispatch from, there's a newspaper article called the Royal Dispatch in August the 3rd, 1765. And this is what the newspaper stated. "Shot an animal, matching description, positive identification uncertain. Villages still report attacks. Recommend additional reinforcements." Now, some believe that the beast was a wolf, some a trained pack, some something else. One soldier's memo writes, "It's not an ordinary animal. Tracks sometimes vanish mid-stride. Growls mimic human speech." Some even officers reported refusing night patrols. And in the royal summary in 1767, it writes, "After 3 years of terror, attacks cease. Cause unknown. Beast unconfirmed, unalived. Villages left in fear. Forest silent at night. Citizens warned, do not wander after dark." Thank you for sharing. So the forest of Divsion remained dangerous at night. Villagers tell children, don't wander beyond the paths. And for centuries, the beast has haunted imagination. Was it a wolf? A man? Something darker? Don't know. These are scary stuff. And the fact that these are real is even more terrifying. Okay, everybody. If you again indulge me for just a moment. Mr. Producer, here we go. Folks, I would like for you to please go to the website again, KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. KGRADB.com. Click on the shop link and then click my name. There are some amazing products there. St. Michael, Mr. Producer is showing on the screen there. You guys can't see it, unfortunately. There is a wonderful, beautiful items. St. Michael items, St. Benedict items. Make sure you purchase as much as you want. But make sure you got to go to kgradb.com, click on the shop, and then my name. You got to go to the right shop. 100% of the profit that I would make from KGRADB selling these products, as a community, we are donating 100% of this to our friends, the MKS Kids Foundation. They're a beautiful organization. They're a nonprofit organization. They are an orphanage in Uganda. So let's help them. And I'm going to try this weekend to upload my book that I have been writing. It is a paranormal guide book. And I'm hoping to have that done pretty soon. I'm going to be uploading that. And then once it's uploaded and it's set to go, 100% of the profits, 100% we're going to donate that to the MKS Kids Foundation. So that should be a pretty decent amount of money for them, hopefully. And so I'll let you guys know when it officially gets published and where you can get it. I'll put it on my website as well. And we'll really start selling these as much as we can to help them. And what's great is the fund is all going to their direct PayPal account. So when you pay for it, their PayPal is going to be connected to this book. So I think it's fantastic. All right. This next one is really, if you like these stories, listen to this. This is, when I read this, got to do it. 1 second. Okay. There we go. Yeah, we had to do a little puzzle, as you all know. But listen to this story. When I read this, I was fascinated. This is the Moberly Jourdain time slip. Shadow of Versailles. Guys, this is fun. This is crazy. So, sit back and listen to this one. And all these stories are 100% true. It was the summer of 1901. Two English women, Charlotte Ann Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, traveled to Versailles. Their intentions were innocent. To admire the gardens and the palace. Yet what they experienced would haunt them for the rest of their lives. They reported seeing something impossible. People, different clothing, landscapes from another century. 1792, the height of the French Revolution. They could not explain what they saw or why the past seemed to intrude into the present. So they had some diaries preserved for decades, formed the very backbone of this case. See, Moberly and Jourdain arrived early morning. The palace grounds were quiet, but the women soon noticed something weird. So in the diary, Charlotte Moberly writes in her diary, "We turned a corner and found ourselves in an avenue I did not recognize. People in the 18th century, dress were everywhere, yet silent, moving with purpose. I cannot describe their expressions, tense, hurried, yet formal." Thank you very much, Steve David. And Eleanor Jourdain's diary says this: "The heat was heavy, but there was no sound of modern life, no voice, no carriages. We saw a man sketching the palace as if it were not there." She says, "I felt a chill." So the women pressed on, terrified that something was wrong. So Moberly and Jourdain claimed to have seen figures that could not exist in 1901. Moberly writes in her diary, "A lady in a pale dress, kneeling as if in prayer, looked at us with a strange, haunted stare. She said, I felt a wave of despair as though the air carried a memory of something terrible." They described people in 1790s Versailles, aristocrats, servants, guards, their movements precise, almost ritualistic. In Jourdain's diary on this, she says, "I felt drawn toward a building that seemed both familiar and impossible. A sense of dread overcame me. I could not move, as if time itself had stopped." Moberly and Jourdain documented everything. Their diaries were the first step toward understanding, or perhaps maybe proving, what they had seen. Moberly wrote a letter to a friend in 1906, and this is what the letter, a brief part of it said: "We have seen what no living person should see. Versailles was not as it is today. We are certain the past overlapped with the present. I dare not speak of it freely." A Jourdain diary writes again, "The sun shone, yet the air was oppressive. Faces from the past watched us. We could not approach, and yet they were real, impossibly real." They published their account in 1911, titled "An Adventure," but many dismissed it as fantasy or misperception. Modern researchers examined their diaries, cross-referencing them with historical records. And a historian wrote this, which is in the documents here. It's amazing. It says the descriptions Moberly and Jourdain provided of buildings, events, and people are remarkably accurate. Certain figures they described, including the Marie Antoinette look-alike, appeared in the archival sketches from 1792. They documented precise locations that were not public or even well known in 1901. So historians remain puzzled. Could this have been a shared hallucination, an elaborate fantasy, or something else? A psychologist wrote in on this or voiced their opinion. They believe that shared hallucinations are rare and usually require extreme psychological stress. Moberly and Jourdain were composed, sober women. Their accounts are remarkably consistent, the psychologist wrote. So some paranormal experts suggest it was a temporal overlap, a rip in time where the past became tangible. But whatever it was, it terrified them. And even decades later, Moberly admitted she felt the presence of something lingering. Well, we've included what could be considered a dossier of the incident, combining their diaries and letters and historical sketches. So let me just share something. These are some archival notes. We have walked among ghosts. Versailles is alive with the past. And there's a historical sketch, a figure in pale dress kneeling near the palace wall. Archival reference confirms similar depiction in Revolutionary era prints. These documents they're consistent, they're detailed, and they're terrifying. Every note points to the impossible, a tangible physical encounter with a bygone century. So the gardens of Versailles remain the same, yet the story lingers. Step carefully. The past may be closer than you think. And perhaps, if you're quiet enough, you'll glimpse it too. But that's amazing. Okay, we'll do it. Well, we have some more. I love stories that you just can't explain. Stories that say, okay, what in the world, what does this mean? Because when you look at this, I mean, this is just, I don't know. And these women, by the way, were women, I would say, of prestige, respect. So they certainly wouldn't have done this, especially in 1901, as an elaborate hoax, because that would have ruined their reputation and their family's reputation. Now, let's talk about this. This is a really fantastic. If you've enjoyed these presentations, I'm telling you, you're going to like this one. The Hammersmith Ghost Panic. So again, for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm Bishop Long. We're talking about haunted historical events that actually occurred and that cannot be explained. The Hammersmith Ghost Panic. Hammersmith, 1804, a quiet suburb of London, mostly ordinary, mostly safe, until the streets came alive with terror. So it began with whispers of a ghost, a figure that was haunting the streets at night, dressed in white, silent, malevolent. That means evil. Within days, the story escalated. The townspeople became paralyzed by fear. Night after night, unsure if they would see a ghost or a person who unalives other people. And the documents that I've uncovered, it retells an interesting story. So it was early February 1804. A man, I've been working on this for about a month and a half or so. I've been really excited about this because when you start digging deeper and deeper, it's like, wow, you start peeling back the layers. A man named Thomas Millwood reported seeing a pale figure on the bridge near Hammersmith. He described it as nearly human, but unnervingly still, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Thomas Millwood's statement said, I saw it crossing the street, silent. I raised my hat to it, tipping the hat, as one might a gentleman. It vanished into the shadows, he said. Soon, more sightings occurred. Hundreds of residents reported the same figure. Fear grew so intense that the community actually panicked. Men carried sticks. Women stayed indoors. Children trembled. So by February the 10th, the town was gripped with hysteria. Several men went out hunting for the ghost, and they were ready to go. The local newspaper reported a phantom walks Hammersmith. Citizens report spectral figure dressed in white. Streets deserted after dusk. Police unable to locate the entity. Now the fear became contagious. Innocent citizens panicked at shadows, screams echoed across the streets, and the ghost, or what was believed to be one, seemed to haunt every corner. There was a series of documents from the local magistrate's office, including witness statements, police logs, newspaper clippings that I found. Here was a witness statement. I saw the specter, they call it a specter back then instead of a ghost, at 9 p.m. near the river. My brother and I chased it with sticks. It disappeared in the mist. Others report the same, were paralyzed by fear. And another document from the local constable's log reads this. This is a constable's log entry. Patrols report multiple sightings. Crowd control becomes necessary. Citizens arm themselves against the phantom. The panic culminated on February the 12th when a man named Francis Smith, convinced that he had seen a ghost, the ghost, he shot a fellow citizen. Thomas Millwood's friend, James Bourne, in the darkness. The court record reports the defendant, Francis Smith, claimed he believed the victim to be the ghost terrorizing Hammersmith. The jury considered the unusual circumstances of mass hysteria. Well, the event shocked the nation, and what had started as whispers of a ghost became a case that would be studied for centuries. As the first documented instance of mass panic caused by a ghostly figure. Now, historians and even psychologists, by the way, have analyzed the event, coining the term mass delusion or collective hysteria. One historian wrote, the Hammersmith ghost panic demonstrates the power of suggestion, fear, and rumor. One sighting triggered another. Shadows became threats. People acted on perception rather than reality. Yet for those living it, I mean, you can understand, it was terrifying. They believed a ghost was truly stalking them. The case ended, by the way, with the court ruling. But the memory of the ghost lingered. Streets remained tense for weeks. Every shadow was suspect. A local memo had written, citizens are advised to remain calm. Reports of the ghost have ceased. Fear persists, but no further incidents reported. So the Hammersmith ghost panic became a cautionary tale, a story fear so powerful it drove rational people to terror and even violence. Fear can make monsters real. Shadows can become threats, and sometimes the things we see are not what they seem. So remember Hammersmith, and remember what a whisper in the dark can certainly do. Okay, my friends, that is our presentation for the evening regarding real paranormal events. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? These are real paranormal stories. Terrifying. But seriously, do yourself a favor. Make sure you go on Prime and make sure you watch the show, The Terror. It is amazing. It truly is one of my best, most favorite shows. And yeah, they did a great job with it. Okay, so why don't we go into, well, Susie, there were people who legitimately believe that they saw this ghostly figure. I think mass hysteria probably set in, but the reports clearly indicate that there were people that, that they weren't selling anything. They're not trying to, cause even more problem. Think of their Motor City. Thank you. But it is clear based on the reports that people really believe they saw this thing, and it terrified a community. So much so that, unfortunately, a person became unalive because of it, because of a terrible accident. All right. Everyone, let's get into our paranormal news because we have a lot to go over. I don't know if this is a good idea. TikTok. I'm going to put everyone can chat, but if the rudeness happens, I'll put sub chat back on for the rest of the night. Very simple. So I'm going to let everybody chat. But if it gets to the point where it becomes ridiculous, I'm just going to put sub chat on. That's it. That's an easy fix for me. So don't be rude. Be nice. Isn't that ridiculous that you have to say this? It really is. It's just stupid. But nonetheless, that's what you have to. Okay. So if you have any questions regarding the paranormal or demonology, you're welcome there, FNA, but I'm telling you, not that you will, but you'll see the rudeness. I'm sure it'll happen. Yeah. Okay. Hello. Very welcome. Thank you for being here. So if you guys have questions, I'm more than happy to try to answer them to the best of my ability. But we do have articles to talk about that are really cool articles. So let me grab this. And while I am doing that, I'll try to catch some of these questions. Hello. Okay. There we go. All right. Thank you for being here. Again, folks, make sure you go to, that's nice. David said, Fridays are fun now. There you go. So make sure you go to KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com, KGRADB.com. Click on that shop link and then click on my name and purchase those products so we can start raising some funds. So, do you feel as if any entity of terrorized child is a demon? Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Your mom knows, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, here's a question. Canadian guy. How can you tell if someone is possessed or just mental illness? Good question. So let me answer that. There are a couple terms in demonology that you're looking for when it comes to possession. It's prognostication and retrocognition. Prognostication is the ability to tell the future. Retrocognition is the ability to tell you your sins. Demons cannot read your mind, but they know your sins because sins fall under what is called ordinary demonic activity. So when you sin, it's temptation, and that is why they know your sins. That's why an exorcist, we always have the sacrament of reconciliation prior to performing an exorcism. So those are two terms. Also, for example, I could have, the person is there, I could have in my hand a holy relic, clearly covering it, and the person has no idea what I have in my hand, but the demon will say that St. Francis relic is not going to help you. There's other things as well. There's the enormous strength. Levitation can occur. The ability to have, no languages that they've never studied before. So obviously, if someone is levitating, that's not mental illness. Extreme strength, inhuman strength, that can happen if someone is on certain illegal substances. For example, well, I'm not going to mention the substance because I'll be banned. But when I was doing police chaplaincy at a major metropolitan police department, we were required to go on police runs, and they would talk to us about one particular substance that people would take where the person would feel no pain. And you would, if they would, unfortunately use their weapon to stop the person approaching, many times they wouldn't immediately stop. They would just keep coming. And so they had a superhuman strength, but that was because of an illegal substance. But obviously, if you have someone who is not on any type of substance at all, and you have other issues of prognostication, retrocognition. So, okay. Yeah, keep in mind when I'm answering a question, I can't answer another question. I mean, you would think that would go without explaining, but yeah. Jay's asking thoughts on Bigfoot. Yeah, I think there's something there. There's too many credible people talking about this. Way too many credible people. And so in my opinion, thank you very much, Becky. Because of that, I think that there's something there. Sure, Gareth, you can send it to the book to the face. Okay. So I didn't see any other questions when I was addressing that one question because I was answering a question. You know what? Here's the deal with Christina. A lot of people are asking about the Conjuring movies. Quite honestly, after the first one, I didn't watch anymore. I hate to say this. I didn't like them. I just didn't like them. And by the way, I know Andrea Perrin. Andrea Perrin has a show right after me on KGRADB radio. And when you talk to Andrea and you get her perspective on things, there's a different perspective. She lived it. She actually lived in the Conjuring house. So I think the Conjuring, in my opinion, I think it's okay. You've exhausted. It's enough. It's enough. Okay, let's move on. So I won't watch it. After the first one, I kind of thought, I'm not really interested in watching any other ones. So, and make sure if you're on TikTok, make sure, guys, please make sure you follow our moderators. Thank you very much. All right. Anne Marie, that's called an EVP. Why is it that I can hear a spirit on playback audio but not as spoken? Because Anne Marie, if you can actually hear it, it's called a disembodied voice. So if you can hear it with your own ears, you can hear it. It's disembodied. But there's a theory that spirits are speaking in a different type of frequency that we're not able to detect. Sometimes we can when a disembodied voice. And when you have a digital recorder, they're able to pick up multiple frequencies at once. So that is a theory why people like EVP, like for example, I will, when you go to usocc.org, and it's all right there for you. So I will have a digital recorder, which I will be taking this, one of my favorite digital recorders, really is a fascinating one. And I'll be taking that with me to the Queen Mary, recording quite a bit. So no, let me make this very, very clear. Let me make this very, 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 very clear. The Nephilim were not. Please stop. The Nephilim were not the offspring of demons and women that was sold to sell a book. And I can prove it biblically. All you have to do is read Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. It clearly states the sons of God, when the sons of God had relations with women, it says the Nephilim existed before and after the sons of God had relations with women. So therefore, the Nephilim could not have been the offspring of demons and women. They existed before. In Greek, it means fierce warriors. That's what it means. Like Luke Scott can't be a normal kind. See, Luke, did that make you feel good? Did you get the attention that you needed? Yeah. Did you get the attention? And now you can't chat because we sit at the big table, the adult table. And those who can't go to the kids' table. Anyway, so Genesis chapter 6, verse 4 makes it abundantly clear that it could not have been the offspring of demons and women. And furthermore, for those of you who are Christians who keep peddling this nonsense, remember what Jesus said, that angels neither marry or procreate. So demons who are fallen angels cannot procreate. Furthermore, the sons of God were the children of Seth. Any rabbi will tell you this. Who was Seth? Seth was the third child of Adam and Eve. So friends, sorry to burst your bubble. I know everyone loves sensationalism and spreading misinformation. The Nephilim were fierce warriors. That is the actual translation from Greek. The sons of God were children of Seth. Genesis 6:4 says the Nephilim existed before and after. It was Gnosticism. It was heretical teaching. Even Paul talks about this, friends, in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7. Read scripture. Stop taking your, listen, please stop taking your biblical training from armchair theologians on YouTube who probably never read a book, probably never read any books in the Bible, and all of a sudden they're experts in theology. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7 says, Paul even addresses the endless myths of the Nephilim, is what it referred to. So it just, stop this nonsense. Just stop. It just drives me crazy. If you're not a theologian, be careful about what you're preaching. I mean, really, seriously, I don't know why we do this. Oh, anyway. Okay. Yeah, we're going to move on. We demand, the right says the hour, departure, and the name of the demon. Okay. I'm not going to explain why. Because then people go around saying that I taught people how to perform exorcisms. When you see the children of God, it's primarily actually found when you in the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 6, verse 154. Oh, it's me, Frank. You can't be a normal human being. Imagine. Oh, now Frank is even blocked. All right, goodbye. I don't want trolls in here. Goodbye, trolls. You're toxic. We don't want you here. It's true. Go away. Okay. Crawl back into the rock in which you came. Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 through 4. Thank you. So the lineage of Seth. Seth was born after Abel, was unalived by Cain. He's considered a right. Yeah, I mean, seriously, you got to think about this. Excuse me, just indulge me for a moment. It's quite funny. It might make you laugh. If you're trolling clergy on a Friday night because you have nothing else better to do, I'm trying to hold back my laughter. You poor thing. You poor. I'm so sorry. Do you have Netflix subscription? You can watch Netflix. Or Amazon Prime has some good movies. But dude, you're trolling clergy on a Friday night? This is serious. Now, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. So, yeah, the descendants of Seth. That's pretty bad. No, that really is bad. You've got to admit, that's a low. That is a Okay. We all need a little laughter. So the descendants of Seth are often viewed as a faithful lineage and, obviously maintain a relationship with God. So the term children of God, thank you very much, implies a special relationship with God characterized by faith, obedience, and worship. So when you see this in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1 through 4, the sons of God, they're described as seeing the daughters of men and are taking them as wives. So again, has nothing to do with demons. Okay. Right, Gareth. Now listen to this, everybody. Well, listen. Now I think Bishop Long said this, didn't he? Maybe I'm psychic after all. What do you think there, Trolley Bolies? Trolley Bolies, do you think I'm psychic? That's a new name, Trolley Boley. It's a good name. Listen to this, everybody. Remember, everybody was going crazy and wonkers and now talking as if they're experts in demonology and they've studied demonology all their lives because Annabelle, the Annabelle the doll, it caused the passing of Daniel Rivera, as everybody was saying. And it made me so mad. It's like, how dare you? How dare you turn this man's passing into a clickbait? And that's exactly what they were doing. And I'm sorry, that's the truth. They were sensationalizing this, and news media did it. Thank you very much. The news media, they plaster this everywhere because it was sensationalized. So for those of you who have not heard, the autopsy has been released. Who passed away after the Annabelle tour in Gettysburg. Austin Winkler wrote this. And I said, wait until the autopsy and you will find out that he had a history of heart issues. Well. The coroner is now releasing the autopsy for the death of a supernatural investigator whose passing sent shockwaves to the paranormal community. After a month-long investigation to determine 54-year-old Daniel Rivera's final cause of death, Adams County Coroner Francis Dutro confirmed to CBS 21 that the famed paranormal expert passed away due to a cardiac-related event. But none of the people who went on social media to scare the hell out of everybody, not one person who scared everybody just to get clickbait, who used this man's passing as a way to make a buck, because that's exactly what it was. That is exactly what, no one's going to tell me different. People were going all over social media spreading this scary story because they knew damn well that it would make $1 for them. And that is the God's honest truth. Tell me when I'm not speaking the truth. Because it is. They knew that it would create sensationalism. They knew it would be clickbait. They knew people would click on it, and they knew that people would watch their video that would last over a minute long, because that's when you get paid for TikTok. And a hell of a lot of people went all over social media, and it was awfully funny that their videos lasted always more than a minute. I wonder why. So they can make $1 off of this man's passing away. Shame on anybody who did that. God forbid, if the good Lord calls me home while I am on the Queen Mary, people are going to have a field day with that, aren't they? They're going to have a field day with that one. I'm sure some people are hoping and praying for the demise. Believe you me. Not that I plan on that happening, but nonetheless, I'm making a point. If the good Lord, if I'm on the Queen Mary and the good Lord says, "Come on home, James," but every people would go all over social media. He's on the Queen Mary. The demons got him. And they would scare everybody, and they would make $1 off of my name, off of my death. And that is the truth. By the way, this article continues. The coroner said and noted, as I said would happen, Rivera had a history of cardiac issues that were synonymous with the results of his passing, ruling his death as natural. And then everybody was spreading that wasn't good enough. And then they spread, oh, the Annabelle was in the room. People actually said this. They actually they went on social media spreading this lie that he actually had Annabelle in his hotel. Thank you there, Trinas. By the way, the coroner confirmed Annabelle was not in the hotel room with Rivera at the time of his passing. That really makes me mad. This is a human being who passed away at 54 years old, and his family lost a beautiful soul. And these people who went on social media didn't give a damn. They didn't care. Not one bit about how they would go on social media, scare everybody, spread the sensationalism so they can make a buck off of their loved one's death. That is evil. That is evil. I don't care how you look at it. That's evil. This was a father, a husband, a son, an uncle. And that is real truth. That is real talk. And anybody who did that should be ashamed of themselves. Just makes it, you just don't do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm living in a world that just, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So there you are, friends. He had cardiac issues. He had serious cardiac issues, obviously. Everybody just went on, not everybody, but people went on, they didn't know his medical history. And you're right, Insandy, and the family probably was scrolling through and watching and looking at these stupid videos. Terrible, terrible. Let's switch gears. TK Randall writes this: a new U.S. government hearing on UFOs to be held next week. What is this? Can someone, what do you guys think this is? Why there are so many hearings lately on UFOs? It's almost as if they're kind of slowly, would you say distraction, or maybe it's just kind of, something is odd. I just think that's odd. We have already had UFO hearings, haven't we? Right, Christopher. Yeah, Dr. Campbell, you're right. I don't, anyway, listen to this. So a new U.S. government hearing on UFOs to be held next week. The meeting will include multiple witnesses and experts related to the field of unidentified aerial phenomena. UFOs continue to remain a major talking point these days, and many government officials are unwilling to let the matter drop, instead pushing for full disclosure of any and all UFO related. I mean, how many hearings have we had from top brass in the military? Now, according to reports, a new hearing on the subject will take place on Tuesday of next week, entitled Restoring Public Trust Through UAP Transparency and Whistleblower Protection. The hearing will be headed by Representative Anna Paulina Luna, thank you, the House Oversight and Government Reform Task Force, and the declassification, thank you, of federal secrets. Says the American people deserve maximum transparency from the federal government on sightings, acquisitions, and examinations of UAPs, and whether they pose a potential threat to American safety. Whistleblowers who provide details on spending information and policies and procedures regarding the classification and declassification of UAPs should be able to do so without retribution. Speaking at the hearing will be multiple UAP witnesses, including Air Force veterans Jeffrey Nitelli and Dylan Borland, as well as Navy veteran Alexandro Wiggins. The hearing will be streamed live from at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, September the 9th. What I want to know what it is that it's almost as if they're prepping us. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion, because there are so many of these. Is it now there are many people that still say the IA3 Atlas. There are many people that are saying that this thing that is heading towards Earth or in the area is in fact aliens. I mean, there's a lot of people that really do believe that this is legitimate. And I don't know. Now, if you remember, Bishop Long, as a individual used to say on the radio, talent on loan from God. Well. I think I made a prediction, didn't I? Didn't I? You guys remember what the prediction was? What was the prediction? Come on. Tell me the prediction. Tell me what did I say? For those of you who follow me, come on, you can do it. You can do it. I said it was a comet. When everybody was saying that, oh no. Well, listen to this. And I know some people may disagree, but this is by Carrie Breen. Carrie Breen. What's that? 2 weeks. Talking about. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, Skywatcher, let's do it. Skywatcher is asking, yeah, let me know if that. Well, thank you very much, Lance Truck. Thank you. Well, listen to this. Listen to this, everybody. Carrie Breen says, a new image shows the growing tail of a comet. See, it ain't so. From another star system streaking across our solar system. The image of the Comet 3I Atlas. Thank you very much. I am truly a nerd. Only a true space nerd would know that. And I called it a comet, a month ago? I called it. I am a nerd, a never-ending radical dude. Don't be jelly. So I told you I was a nerd. The image of a three... Yes, okay. Mr. Producer is writing something here. Okay, calling him. Excellent. Okay. So the 3I Atlas was captured on August 27th using some of the telescopes at the International Gemini Observatory in Chile during a public outreach event allowing students to work with astronomers. The comet is only the third known interstellar object to pass through our solar system. It poses no threat to Earth, NASA previously said. So Comet 3I Atlas has been photographed multiple times since its discovery in July. Early August, NASA and the European Space Agency released photos taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. It's amazing. It was about 277 million miles away from Earth when the telescope captured it. No threat. The new image from the Gemini Observatory shows the comet's broad coma, or a cloud of dust and gas that forms around its nucleus as it gets closer to the sun, astronomers said in a news release. The tail spans 1/200th in a degree of the sky. And 1 degree is about a width of a pinky finger, according to the news release. The tail also points away from the sun. So it goes on, blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, my friends, it is a comet. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. Okay. I mean, really. Seriously, I mean, that's... and Harvey Loeb, yes. And, by the way, this TK Randall writes this. An interstellar object, thought by some to be artificially constructed, will fly by Mars in 1 month's time. Says we talked a lot about the mysterious unknown object, 3I Atlas. In recent months, a visitor from another solar system that, while officially classed as a comet by scientists, is thought to be by some, including Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, to be a piece of extraterrestrial technology. You know, I would be ticked off. I'd be like, dude, I'm going to Harvard and I'm taking your class. Really? Really? Come Come on. Anyway, you got the education for free just listening to the Sacred Division right here on Friday night. Anyway, for him and others, getting a close-up look at the object is of crucial importance, for which is why upcoming close by, the flyby of Mars could be an opportunity to see what we've been waiting for. Hello? On October the 3rd, everybody, 3I Atlas will pass within 30 million kilometers of Mars, much closer than it will ever get to Earth, providing a unique chance to take some detailed photographs. To this end, the European Space Agency is preparing to turn the cameras of its Mars orbiters toward the object in the hope of capturing some useful imagery. Quote, we can confirm that we are planning to observe 3I Atlas around the time of its closest approach to Mars. Okay, so this is predicted to occur October the 3rd. Well, on this date, the object will still be approximately 30 million kilometers from Mars. So there you go, guys. I know it's not fun. I know it's not exciting sensationalism, but nonetheless, what do you got to do? I don't know. By the way, very quickly, because we're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. My gosh, the time goes by, doesn't it? Randall writes this as well. Listen to this. A man spots a Bigfoot-like creature wading across river in Oklahoma. So, and I'm making two predictions. The first prediction, I said this was a comet, and I was correct. The next prediction that I make is that we are going to be here on September the 25th. In other words, if the Lord doesn't call us home before then, in other words, there will not be a rapture on the 23rd and 24th. It won't happen. I'm telling you now, it won't happen. So all these people going on social media scaring you, telling you, oh, the rapture is going to happen. Don't listen to them. Just scroll on. Just say, okay, you know what? Just put that down, whatever you're smoking. Just put it down. Just focus. It's not going to happen. We'll be here on the 25th. The 26th, I believe, is a Friday. I'll be here. Or whatever day it is, 27. Nonetheless. So this encounter, Bigfoot encounter in Oklahoma, the encounter happened early in the morning when, while he was driving across a bridge between Tuttle and Mustang. In a recent sighting submission to the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, 62-year-old Jeff Power described an encounter with something unexplained at 8:15 a.m. on the morning of August the 4th. Says he had been heading to work and had been driving on the bridge over the Canadian River when he spotted a large, dark shape wading through the water around knee deep. The creature was at a distance of about 80 to 120 yards and was heading for the northern bank. And he noted that it was walking on two legs, but was otherwise unable to make out any details. Keen to get another look at the creature, he turned his vehicle around and drove back, but by the time he had reached the river, it was nowhere to be seen. He later clarified that the beast had been huge, was wider than a 50-gallon drum. And as a veteran deer hunter, Power is certainly no stranger to identifying wildlife, and whatever this was, it was nothing he had ever seen before. As things stand, exactly what he saw that day continues to remain a complete mystery. So there we go. We have another Bigfoot sighting in Oklahoma, friends. All right, for those of you who are listening to this on podcast, we say good night to you and have a great evening. I want to remind everybody that don't forget, next week, next Friday, we're going to be coming live to you from a very interesting and exciting location from the Queen Mary. It is one of the most haunted locations in the world. I'm going to be investigating there. I'll be staying at the most haunted room on the entire ship that Thursday, and I'll tell you all about it and what I captured, what evidence I captured, if nothing ever happened. So that Friday, we're going to be talking about the Queen Mary. It's going to be really interesting next week, next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which will be 4 p.m. California time. We're going to be going live. Yep, the B340 Judy Ann puts in there. Judy Ann serves, of course, as executive producer. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to be making a documentary on this as well. And this should be a very, very fun show next week. next week, next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're not going to want to miss that show. So TikTok, stay with me for just a moment. I'm going to close out everybody here. I'll be with you guys in just a second. Remember, I tell you all the time, your value does not decrease based on a troll's inability or refusal to see your worth. You're priceless, and never let anyone tell you or convince you otherwise. Until next week, we'll see you guys later.